Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. I'm really grateful to you guys giving so much love to all the episodes before. And today I'm back with another episode with Priyashi. Priyashi, sorry, my bad. And okay, Priyashi is a psychologist and a coach. So thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lakshit, for having me. I'm really excited.
Yes, same here. Looking forward towards this conversation. So before starting anything, it would be wonderful if you can give a brief intro about yourself and what you do.
Okay, so as you said, my name is Priyashi and I'm a psychologist. I'm also a spiritual well-being coach.
Okay.
I have founded a course which is called Vairagya,
Mm-hmm.
and I am a relationship counselor. I
Okay.
am a life coach as well.
Okay, wonderful.
So yeah, that's the kind of services I offer.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for that. So yes, it would be wonderful if you can just explain about today's topic and what you think is today's topic is the conversation we're going to have. So if you can just give us a bit of idea about what we're going to speak today.
Well, the topic of today is anxiety, and I feel that there are so many out there in today's time who are experiencing it. You know, some of them know what actually it is, and some of them are totally unknown to this concept of anxiety. They don't even know the terminology and what it stands for.
Yeah.
And half of the population who are experiencing this don't have the proper understanding that what it is and how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So anxiety is something which comes in various disguised forms, and it's very important to identify, recognize those disguised forms. You know, in what kind of a camouflage way it's portraying in our behaviors. We do not know that yet. So it's very important to recognize them and find a soothing way of living our lives because. We only get life once, right? Then why
Yeah.
to spend it with anxiety?
Yes, of course, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you define anxiety? What is anxiety according to you?
Well, in a very short way, it's called unknown fear or say fear of unknown. Okay. And whenever our mind goes into the future,
Mm-hmm.
that's where when we all are experiencing the fear of unknown because future is unknown,
Yeah. True.
right?
Yes.
So many of us actually, either spend our time in our minds
Mm-hmm.
rather than living in the present.
Yeah.
And either we go back in the past, we continue to think about our memories, we just replay our different memories, one by one, or we continue to create hypotheses, continue to create predictions and probabilities about future. And that leads us towards this fear of unknown because it is uncertain. No matter how much we can plan, no matter how much we put our inputs to the
Mm-hmm.
planning of our future, yet
Yes.
it will remain uncertain.
Yeah.
And that's where the fear of unknown comes in. And it starts to, consume us as the form of anxiety.
Okay. And what do you think is the major cause of these anxiety disorders, and how do you think what are the factors you think which contribute towards these anxiety disorders?
Okay. So, everyone's personality, each one of us has been developed on the basis of three aspects.
Okay.
Okay. One is biological,
Mm-hmm.
where we have our genes, our inheritance is there, right? And what kind of proteins are there in our body, right? So, all that kind of information is playing out, right? Then, second aspect is our, say, psychological aspects,
Okay.
which determines our way of thinking, our way of perceiving things,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, for example, if you and I are walking on the road and we see a dog, you may go and pet the dog, whereas I may just run away in panic,
Okay.
right? Why? Because your perception of looking at dog is different than mine.
Yeah.
You look at the dog and think that, oh wow, he is so cute, right? And you may have an emotion of love
Yes, of course.
and
Yeah.
of nurturing. So you go and start petting the dog.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, in my perception, What I am looking at is his broad jaws and strong paws.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gives me the emotion of fear. I
Yes.
start to feel afraid
Mm-hmm.
and I become fearful and I go into thinking, what if he bites me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that gives me the sense of uncertainty, that gives me the sense of fear,
Fear. Yes.
and that's where I run away. So our behaviors are mostly guided by what are we perceiving. From the same stimulus, two people can have different behaviors, can have different reactions or actions towards it. Right.
Yeah.
So that's how psychological aspect contributes in a person's personality.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
And the third aspect is the social environment. How has our immediate environment, say our family members,
Mm-hmm.
say our peer group, say
Mm.
our school,
Okay.
has helped us to, you know, behave in a particular way? What kind of behaviors have been reinforced by our, say, family members, by our
Okay.
teachers, by our friends of circle? Right?
Yeah. Yes.
So that depends. So these are the three factors. And when
Okay.
it comes to this, we also need to understand that anxiety is something which is triggered by our autonomic nervous system.
Okay.
Okay, so as I gave the example of the psychological aspect, right? That if you and I are seeing a dog, right? I am actually running away. Why am I running away? Because my body is telling me to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I don't run away, if I still stand there, I will start sweating, my heart will
Yeah.
race,
Yeah.
right? So all these signs and symptoms will be showing in physical aspects. Why? Because my mind wants me to run.
Yeah.
My body is already prepared to run. So somewhere in the mind, my body is already running, but in reality, I'm still standing. That's why, even by standing, I am still sweating. My heart is still racing,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm still experiencing shortness of breath. So all these, signs are experienced when person actually runs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is the behavior of, that is the signal of our autonomic nervous system. So what happens when we see any stimulus in our present, in our reality, right? If I see a lion in front of me, definitely I have a reason to feel fearful because
Yeah.
it's dangerous, it's
Yes.
open,
Mm-hmm.
right? And of course, I'm standing in front of it. So, right, it's obvious to experience that kind of, you know, anxiety or that kind of fear within me. Now I know what is it from which I am being fearful,
Okay.
right? But if I am not actually seeing it, I'm just imagining it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Then the mind, the brain is actually not able to identify the difference in the imagination and the real stimulus present in front of the individual.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that distinction is missing, and because of that, brain signals the autonomic nervous system to get activated because our brain, our nervous system, all
Mm-hmm.
of it, our body wants to live, our body wants to survive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they start to prepare our body so that I can run
Hmm.
and save myself.
Yes, I get it. I
Right?
get it. Yeah. Yeah.
That's the kind of two kind of responses our autonomic nervous system prepares us. So one is the fight and second is the flight. My autonomic nervous system has chosen the flight response, right? It has
Yeah.
actually shut down my body so that my heart can still continue to beat and I can still continue to respirate. My brain can still continue to work in a passive way.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
consuming its energy. The body is consuming its energy. It's actually preserving the energy. It does not want it to dissipate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah. Yeah, so that's fight and flight response. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much for explaining that very, very wonderfully with a wonderful example. I'm really thankful for that. And what are the kind of anxiety disorders?
Well, so one is a social anxiety disorder,
Okay,
right? People experience anxiety when they are in social surroundings.
okay,
They're not very at ease and at comfort when they are surrounded by people.
okay.
Okay, they may also experience it while going over a stage and giving a performance. They
Mm-hmm.
do not people's attention on them,
Okay,
right? Then we have generalized anxiety disorder, where people experience a floating anxiety. It's like almost all the time,
mm-hmm.
right? No matter what they do, but it's just there,
Okay,
right? So whatever task they would be performing, there will be some pinch of anxiety within them. Then there is say panic disorders are there, right? Panic disorder is basically when the signs of anxiety rush in,
okay,
in a very small duration, they rush in. So the intensity gets higher and duration is shorter.
okay,
So that's the
okay,
difference in panic and anxiety disorder. But it is a part of anxiety disorder itself because the symptoms are same.
okay, okay.
Then we have phobias as well, which talks about irrational
Mm-hmm.
fear.
Okay,
Yes. So, for example, if I see the lion in front of me, it is rational enough to feel fearful, right?
mm-hmm.
But if I see a rabbit in front of me, it is not that rational. It's not rational to feel fearful from the rabbit because rabbits are soft and cute and they are not that harmful, right? They can't
Yeah,
harm us,
yes.
right? So people experience this. So that's the irrational fear. That's called phobic disorder. Then
Okay.
we have obsessive compulsive disorder as well,
Mm-hmm.
in which people attain obsessive thoughts, means that there are intruding thoughts in their mind, and the consistency of that is quite constant. That
Okay.
if they want that thought not to come,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to stop. It's going to be so consistent and it will continue to intrude the person's activities and whatever functionality they have been doing in their daily routine, and to make them quiet, to make them go away,
Mm-hmm.
they have a compulsive action to do. So they are being compelled by to stop that thought. There is a compulsive action that they need to perform.
Okay.
Only then that thought will go away, and that thought is so provoking that it gives them a strong sense of say uneasiness, anxiety, and discomfort. So
Okay.
that's obsessive compulsive disorder.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And after talking about the causes and the kind of disorders, the question comes here is how to manage it. Where we go to cure these anxieties. Like it's impossible to cure them, but for a period of time, how what can we do? How can we find ourselves having these disorders, and how can we help ourselves, and where we should go to manage these?
Well, so we need to understand that as I mentioned, that the brain, mind, and nervous system, all these three things are interrelated and are in interaction
Okay.
all the time,
Okay.
right? We need to understand that we all are vulnerable towards it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which means as a measure of prevention, we can all do few things,
Okay.
right, to keep up with our good state of mental health,
Yeah.
right? So when it comes to preventive measures, we can spend time with nature,
Mm-hmm.
because nature gives us gives the rise in our body hormones, which are very good for our body. It helps us to deal with our stress. It helps us to deal with any kind of say anxiety or any
Okay.
kind of stress,
Okay.
right? It uplifts our mood. It uplifts the happy hormone as well. So it gives us a sense of relaxation and calmness,
Okay.
right? That's the reason whenever we go on vacations, we choose some sort of place which is more nature related, right? Either we go to beaches or either we go to mountains,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Yes. Then we can choose a habit, because this arrives. Stress is one of the, say, also important factor when it
Okay.
comes to anxiety,
Okay.
right? There is another anxiety disorder which is there, which is called post traumatic stress disorder. So
Okay.
that is also a part of anxiety disorder.
Okay.
Okay. And that's where the stress plays a very it plays a very important role. For yourself a specific time where one can actually do a physical exercise, be it swimming, it can be any kind of sports that a person likes, be it skipping, be it swimming, be it cycling, be it playing a sport, be it just doing a cardiovascular exercise, be it a hit routine, anything. So these are basically the stress busters,
Okay.
right? And as we do these physical workouts, what happens in a specific time, then we are signaling our nervous system and our brain heartbeat. This is the time when you need to sweat. This is the time when you need to raise my breathing.
Yeah.
Right? So we are giving a proper training. We are coaching our brain, mind, and our nervous system that this is the time when you need to perform this way, and the rest of the times you need to be relaxed.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. So
Yeah.
these are some preventive measures, and these preventive measures are are useful enough even if the person has developed an anxiety disorder.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So some sort of relaxation exercises also help, right?
Okay.
um, yeah. So let's say yoga or say pranayam or some sort of breath work can also contribute into relaxation of this anxiety. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And if somebody finds themselves that they have actually entered into anxiety and they are actually experiencing anxiety since past 1 week, 2 week, just go ahead, get to the proper professional. What to whom you can contact? They can contact to a psychiatrist. They can contact to a clinical psychologist, a licensed clinical psychologist,
Okay.
right? And if they feel that if their severity level is not that high, right, and they have just started to experience it, they can even talk out to a counselor as well, or to a coach with a psychologist background,
O-
right?
Okay.
Because not all coaches have the understanding of how body and mind functions, right? So people from mental health professional can only help them. And when it comes to clinical psychologist, counselor, or a psychiatrist, so the difference basically is the counselors can actually handle, can actually help them to vent out their stress, to give them some exercises that will help them for their anxiety, right? If the anxiety is not that severe, right?
Okay.
If it's at mild level, right? If it's getting severe, consult a clinical psychologist,
Okay.
right? And if it's getting, you know, much higher, right? And if the clinical psychologist or the counselor would feel that now they may need a medication, right? Then they go to a psychiatrist. They can, they are the ones. Psychiatrists are the one who can actually prescribe medicines to people. They are actually the medical doctors, and they are also trained in some therapies as well. Not all, but some. So, depending upon the professional's qualifications, they can choose to whom they want to, with whom they want to get treated.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, before ending this session, what would be your message to anybody? Like any kind of message, maybe regarding to mental health, regarding today's topic, any kind of mental, message you'd like to leave here before leaving this session or ending this session?
Well, mental health is as important as our physical health.
Of course.
So if we are people can get to, create lighter note that if they have got an acne on their face and or if that's a pimple and if they wanted to get rid of it, so they can go and visit a dermatologist, right? If they need a haircut and or they need say hair therapy, and they can go and spend their 20,000 of money, right? Then it's very very important to understand that similarly, just like this, mental health is also important.
Okay.
Stop creating this biasness between physical health and mental health, because if our mental health is not right, we are not going to, the nature of the experience of this life is not going to be beautiful one,
Okay. Okay.
right? So it's very very important.
Okay, yeah. So thank you very much for being here and joining me on today's conversation. It was really interesting, and thank you for adding up really good examples over here in there. It was really wonderful to have you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lakshit. I love this time, and thank you so much for inviting me here.
My pleasure. Thank you again.